some documents and billboards and stuff.
70s stuff, is it?
Yeah, from celebrating Peterloo. It's quite good, and there's a...
Turning into a history geek, I am.
It's quite... It's
really happening.
Some of the photographs that you've shown are on it, and it's also got some journalist accounts and stuff. And I was also inspired to read E.P. Thompson. And E.P. Thompson is fantastic. What a fantastic book. I mean, in the spirit of the Convention of the Left, this is a guy from a Stalinist tradition, but he's written a basic libertarian socialist history of 19th century Britain. And it's absolutely superb, and I was delving into it today to put the Peterloo rebellion in context, and basically making the point that it was part of a popular movement. He basically says there's two things. That firstly, that it was a riot, in a sense it was a riot by the authorities against people who had gone out of their way to organise and protest peacefully. And secondly, that it was hugely popular. 60,000 people, if it was, 60,100, is a substantial percentage of the population of the Manchester area, and they marched from 10 locations around Greater Manchester, at least. And it's a joy to read. I just have to take issue with you about Henry Hunt, because he does actually say in the actual the actual chapter that includes Peterloo is actually entitled Demagogues and Martyrs. And I'm afraid that in E.T. Thompson's view, Henry Hunt was definitely a demagogue. And he talks about how the fact that he had a huge egomania, and that was part of the problem, that it wasn't an organisation.
I'm not standing here listening to this.
but for perfectly understandable historical reasons, the fact that there wasn't any money to support popular politics meant that the only people who could be politicians were people who were well off. They tended then to be self-seeking and an extrovert, and so Henry Hunt always made sure that there was a cheer for Henry Hunt. Anyway, it's worth, just read it anyway. This should be recommended reading on the Green Left's reading list if ever anything was. E.P. Thompson, Making an English Working Class. It runs from the late 18th century to the middle of the 19th century. And he talks about it, and he compares the period in the 1790s when there was a radical movement, but which was quite small, quite suppressed, and quite unrepresentative. But he said that by the time it gets to Peterloo, it's hugely popular. There's a huge contempt for the political class, which are seen to be in the pockets of business. Is it resonating? Unfortunately, there isn't a democratic movement, and it's run by demagogues like Henry Hunt. But he basically says that the English working class are being held down by force in 1819, and that basically Peterloo was a popular rebellion, and you know, it was a revolutionary time. It's an exciting read and definitely worth.
One of the criticisms I read. Sorry, just very quickly to.
I just want to say very quickly, we promised to be out by 5 o'clock, so.
Oh, good.
One really interesting criticism of Henry Hunt is you can argue that he rendered the crowd vulnerable, you know, by this constant emphasis on it's got to be non-violent. But you know, how do you interpret?
Well, we're still having that debate today as well.
So we really have to see all tomorrow, yeah. And if you know other people who will sit and bring along, let's get the numbers out.
A lot of people here are from.